Hey, it's Finn from the American Cornhole organization with a question for you. Do you remember the most fun you've ever had playing cornhole? Think about it. You might think you do, but you don't. And you know how I know? Because if you're not a member of the American Cornhole organization, you haven't had the most fun you've ever had playing cornhole yet. You're just a couple of clicks away from joining the worldwide cornhole community, where you'll be able to play down the street or across the country with players of all skill levels and even the pros of the American Cornhole organization, the governing body of the sport and the fun of cornhole since 2005. Head to AmericanCornhole.com to learn all about the ACO and how to become a member of a local group near you. The most fun you've ever had playing cornhole is waiting for you. So, is it time to take your game from the sidewalk to center court? We can't wait to find out, and we can't wait to see you. Let's have some fun. AmericanCornhole.com and the ACO remind you, keep on pitching.
Well, good afternoon or good morning if you happen to be west of the timeline, and welcome to Toledo, the Glass City Center Court for the ACO American Cornhole Organization Toledo Major. Finn, the loudmouth for the ACO, side by side with Tammy Klinger, who has unfortunately, how do we put this?
Sucked all weekend.
Well, I was going to choose.
I'll call it like it is.
I was going to choose maybe a more delicate way of saying that
it doesn't get delicate on that.
You have relieved the rest of the field of fearing your presence. Let's just say that.
They were scared all day
so
of being hit from a bag that strayed.
Oh, good Lord. Well, welcome to the winners bracket final in the ACO doubles. We've got lots of results to report for you through the course of yesterday, and we continue rolling today. Bruce Lalonde and Tony Pena in the red lane. You've got Steve Smith and TJ Miller in the blue lane, and those guys just had a slugfest against Tyler Amos and Rudy Fernandez. Even though the final was 21-11, it just never seemed like that game was going to end, because they just, when you thought it was about to be a rout or they were going to go ahead and put the finishing touches on them, it just was not to be at the time. So we'll keep an eye on these guys. Again, the winners bracket final here, and we still have some pretty formidable teams in the lower bracket right now. Dennis Posey and Rex Uhrig are getting ready to face off against the aforementioned Tyler Amos and Rudy Fernandez. Austin Douglas and Justin Gibson right now knotted at 16 with Johnny Lang and CJ Slagance. Jody Thurman and Richard Jones from Blueprint Bags awaiting the winner of that match. So what you said, you talked with Bruce, what they're throwing?
Yep, Bruce and Tony, they're actually Michigan guys. I know their families.
Sure.
They are throwing the BP Shockwaves.
Right on. And I'm fairly certain that TJ and Steve are throwing Luckies. If
half their clothes says Luckies, I'm assuming that you are correct on that one.
If they're not, then something's gone way awry.
Well, they look to be started already. I didn't think they were. I thought they were still in their down and backs, but
they're getting ready to load up what appears to be
10 on 8.
The first score, and that's going to be a deuce there for Steve Smith and TJ Miller. TJ is one of those guys where you don't see him at a lot of tournaments, but I feel like I always see him at the ones that I'm at. He's always seems to be at those. And I think my favorite memory of this team, of he and Steve, comes from the Field of Dreams a couple of years ago. Our first trip out to the Field of Dreams, because I didn't. Did you see the way that was set up with those beams and the?
Yes.
Yeah, and they did not come into play. I mean, you would have really had to throw one as poorly as, say, maybe me to hit one of those beams. But psychologically, it was always right there. Mm-hmm. And the person it affected most is standing right there. Steve Smith said he could not get that out of his head, that he was going to hit it when he was releasing or hit it upon the landing of the bag. And it never did, not once, but he just could not get it out of his head. So I think he prefers the wide open spaces of places like the Glass City Center. So if you're watching along on the stream, you might be watching us here in Toledo, or you might actually be tuning in to the ACO Mobile Major in Mobile, Alabama, with our man, the Mississippi Ninja, Philip Barnett. I think Stephanie Burgett still side by side with him as we divided and conquered here on the ACO Civil War weekend, North versus the South, Toledo versus Mobile. Another couple of points added to the tally for Steve and TJ, 4-0. Again, this is for the king seat.
I think TJ tried to throw that one off as a blocker, and it just went a little farther than he wanted it to.
Yeah. You know, and yesterday you and I talked about the difference in delivery styles, and when someone's in your periphery and your vision, there's no way. Oh, look at that. He tried to completely brute force that one through there, skipped it off to the side. Did Bruce Lalonde wearing Lucky 13 next to Lucky's bright green. But yeah, TJ Miller wouldn't be in your periphery unless you're out at the concession stand. He stands way back.
Yep, as tall as, he does. He has quite a stride when he goes to
long
throw.
wingspan and a long stride, exactly right. So 5-0 is where we find ourselves early in this king seat match. Again, Toledo, Ohio, the Glass City Center. Fantastic facility, a tattoo convention going on around the corner. Last night did our best to try to talk Gears into getting his tattoo, and we still can't get it done. Well, he claims to be too busy. So
now, I heard that he wants to make sure it is absolutely the right one that he wants, which makes sense. I mean, if if he's finally going to get one, he wants to make sure it's everything that he wants.
Nice bag right there. Yeah, now, that's the same thing as like if you wait till you're ready financially to have kids, you'll never have kids.
That was the next thing I was going to say. But,
Yep.
I don't think he's actively looking for the right one either.
You got to look to find. That's exactly right. A lot of chirping as these guys continue to measure one another. A couple of points here, a couple of points there. Steve and TJ in the blue lane added the single penny there. Oh, Bruce has one that almost runs off the backside of the board. TJ run up the middle. Oh, he
drops one short.
A level 37 blocker. Bruce goes up and tumbles in. Yeah, boy, I'm surprised that one didn't go.
Yeah.
Still got one left to fire. TJ's going to push hard and does Bruce a favor,
See if Bruce can get them on the board.
Going to get up over the top.
All
and it
right.
just
Well, they're
lays there.
still on the board.
Is that a
10 on 6 or 8 on 6?
8 on 6, yeah.
So we got 7-2. 2?
Yep.
Tony had a good run in seniors yesterday as well.
Well, he did. He was all over the place, and I know he and Bruce, they're throwing the BP bags. They won the Quads Bagmaster Series with those bags, so they will be featured in a social media montage soon enough as our Quads champions. I see Josephina Ernstberger.
Oh, Steve just dropped one in front of the board.
I tell you what.
Gonna let Tony pick up 3 on this one?
A couple of dirty bags yesterday we saw, a couple today already. Just make up for that by holing one out, and that'll cost him 3. So 7-2 becomes 7-5. I see Josephina over there, bedazzled as always in her sequined American wings. I'm not sure exactly what it says on the back, but she had a huge day of number 2 finishes as well. She came in second to McKenna Ballou in the women's division, and then she and her partner Tyler Amos fell to Russell Tabers and Martina Belt in the co-ed doubles.
Oh, that one got hung up on the side there.
It did, and that
TJ
bag,
actually is going to help pull it in too.
Cleaned it all up, so 12 on 12. I know these are all stamped in regulation bags, but for whatever reason, those BPs just look like they're laying differently. When they get them fold themselves around the edge of the hole, they're not as drippy as some others. They almost seem a little bit smaller. I know they're not. Optical illusion, perhaps?
Right. Well, and I mean, there are some that have a smaller template, a little bit bigger. I prefer the smaller, but it's all within the regulation.
Yep. Within the parameters. He tried to go up and over top for the airmail and just lipped it out. Should still be able to save that one there.
Probably even more so now.
Yeah, Steve did him a favor. Tony is going to go up again. Yeah. Man, he did it nicely done. Gets the drag off to the left side. But again, you saw it fell in very slowly, as if it didn't want to. Boy, and that's a this is going to be a killer right here.
Steve's got one on each side of the board, basically. Tony went in for 12.
Yeah. So right now it's a 12 on 5, 12 on 8. That'll be a 4 spot.
And we got a lead change.
And a lead change and a first bag change, absolutely. Again, thanks for joining us here on the ACO Digital Network. The Toledo Major from the Glass City Center Court. Finn, the loudmouth for the ACO. Tammy Klinger, one of our ACO, doing triple duty, really. I mean, because when you're in doing commentary or you're out as a player, taking care of AT to make sure you know where he is, that's triple duty right there. Where is he, by the way?
He was over there practicing, getting ready for singles.
Very good, very good. And again, you're watching the match that'll determine the King's seed holder. It's going to be is that a Washington's?
Washington's.
Is that Washington's?
Here we go again.
Borrowed from Alan Ballard yesterday. Well, we added the wash. It was wash until you got here, lady.
The South is rubbing off.
Let's see what else is going on down here in the losers bracket. Posey and Urich up over Tyler Amos and Rudy Fernandez, 11-6. And yesterday, Rudy very concerned that he wasn't going to be able to pull his weight with Tyler as his partner. But I think he's been throwing some pretty good bags. He threw some nice ones here on center court right when we had our power outage. Austin Douglas and Justin Gibson 1 point away from taking down CJ Slagance and Johnny Lang. The winner of that will face Jody Thurman and Richard Jones. Oh, he got it up and over. Boy, it landed and died.
Yeah, it did.
Tony's going to try the same thing, but he unfortunately takes the trampoline off to the left side of the board. Steve steps way out right. Is he going to try it again? No, he's going to come in low.
Try and slide.
Yep.
Now, it looks like Tony has one hanging in the hole there, so we'll see if he goes. Yeah, he's going to go up again.
Kind of sat and added to the pile. Give Steve a choice. I can't really see how much hole he's got to work with from that angle. Should be plenty if he wanted to. And he is. He's going up. Oh, and he got it. Nice backside.
Great bag by Steve.
It occurred to me. I thought there was a lot of double entendre in Major League Baseball, but it just now occurred to me that cornhole, aside from the obvious, when you're talking about a guy who has a nice backside, we're talking about an airmail here. And I only say that because Steve is facing cornhole. Me. So, yeah, well, of course, yeah.
Start you off in the wrong direction.
Nothing gets you into a spam filter faster than sending somebody an email from us. These guys are just firing. Looks like it's going to be a double 4-bagger as long as Bruce can keep up his eye. There you go. You're welcome. 12 on 10. That'll be the deuce. Austin Douglas and Justin Gibson have now finally taken down CJ Slagance and Johnny Lang, 21-18.
And with this game, Steve and Tyler, or Ty, TJ,
yeah.
Let me adjust the glasses. Are up 12-9 on Bruce and Tony.
Mm-hmm. Steve keeps a very close eye on his bag. Up in front of his eyes, goes vertical, straight to horizontal, get that flat spin. See a few players do it that way, start vertically. Tony doesn't even look at his bag. He kind of shoots from the hip and just keeps his eye on the board at all times.
Who else does that? Out of
the shooting from the hip?
Indiana.
A lot of people.
No, Illinois.
Boy, I tell you.
Yep.
Quite a few. But, we saw Martina Belt last night. She kind of holds it up and taps the top of her own. Oh, boy. He got one to go, and he was able to hold the corner of the board. Tony wants to take a look at this. A little timeout, see what he's got to work with. When you're up on it looks a lot different than standing back there. So he and Bruce will figure out they'll get out their protractors and figure out the right angle, get a compass perhaps. And they'll meet together, and then ultimately he'll say, "Do whatever you want to do."
That's the way it normally happens.
Seems like it does.
That's my answer.
Yeah, do what you think is best.
Don't ask me. I'll tell you if the hole's open, but ultimately, you know your throw, so he's been hitting those airmails.
And he's got one left. He's going slick side down. He's going to go in hot and try to push. Oh, and he puts in one of each.
So we got 8 on 10.
Yeah, they're going to grab a couple out of that. Our TJ and Steve.
Drew Waking. That's the name
Drew
I was trying to
Waking.
think of.
Yep.
That holds it up in front of his face.
Yeah, holds it up in front of his face.
Yeah,
it's almost like a mask. Boy, I'll tell you, TJ hits the board so low. I'm surprised he doesn't have more get hung up down low. He really gets some action on that bag when it hits the board. All right, so the pool play has begun in singles.
Bruce can pull that one in.
Here in Toledo.
And he does,
no,
and
he
it bunches up.
Bunches it up to the left side. So, what, 10 on 8?
10 on 8, giving us a score of 16 for Steve and TJ against Tony and Bruce with a 9.
Yep. You see in the Glass City Center Pavilion A, like I said, down in the other portion of the bottom level of the convention center, a big tattoo convention going on, piercings, tattoos, all sorts of body art happening just down the hall from us, right here on the Maumee River, not far from where it meets up with Lake Erie.
I don't think that's one that Steve's going to be able to pull in. He's got one off to the left.
No, outside arm trying to come back that way. He's basically got to count on Tony to give him some help, and he had no intention of doing that. Giving him help, that is.
No.
That's exactly what he wanted to do with the bag. So TJ's telling him, yeah, lay it right in front. Clog it up. No. Bruce says, yeah, just run through it. Oh, man.
It bunches up.
It did. It's quite a laundry basket.
I think it's going to be 8 on 6.
Yes, it is. Steve Smith, TJ Miller, 16-11. They hold the lead over Bruce Lalonde and Tony Pena. Bruce, and oh boy, and that's not a good way to start a frame where you really need to get some work done here in the red lane. Bruce and Tony in the blue lane, Steve Smith and TJ Miller.
TJ just kind of helped him out a little bit by
took him off the hook a little bit, you know.
And this is for the king seat.
Yes, it is. In doubles, world doubles. Singles pool play has just begun. Boy, he really has let him out. Now, Bruce is not doing himself any favor. Oh, my goodness. So the best they can hope for is a 4th spot right now. This is 5 on 4. TJ wants to come take a look. I think if he's thinking clearly, I don't think he wants to chase. You know, I think just take what's given to you.
I think so too.
Tony going down there to reset Bruce's head for him. Bruce took a long stroll around the back of the board after having 2 off, or a dirty bag and then 1 off the back. TJ should just take it. Oh boy, and he did. He chased it and
so we got a
wasted
6 on 4.
6 on 4. It was a wasted opportunity, is what it was. So only picking up 2 out of that one.
Score is 18-11.
Let's see who's checking things out. Cody Hughes, TJ Miller. Let's go. Mia Ray, Jesse Hempy, Brian Jones running the show from the tournament director standpoint, doing an outstanding job as always. Eric Heinerman, the executive producer of all the bits and pieces of the weekend that you are consuming. Boy, he is way out there on the edge. And
yeah, I thought he was coming in to kind of bully Tony's bag out of the way.
And maybe be able to grab his.
Yeah.
But I don't really see how much he's got hanging over the lip. Tony's bags, they've been playing. Well, that's sort of what I think. Half of what Steve wanted to do, but that's going to be a 12 on 10 that cost him a couple. So they're on the magic number, are Steve Smith and TJ Miller, 20. Bruce Lalonde, Tony Pena, a couple of French fries to deal with right now. And if TJ can stay consistent up the middle, it'll be over, and they will hold the king seat. Bruce has got a lot of work to do, and that's going to do it. Yep, our king seat holders have been determined. Just for good measure, that fourth bag in. And congratulations, Steve Smith, TJ Miller, 21-11. They will hold the king seat and drop Bruce and Tony to the losers bracket. And they will be playing the loser of, well, we've still got a ways to go to get there. But right now, let's see, in the losers bracket, Austin Douglas and Justin Gibson have not yet begun or are knotted on a goose egg right now with Jody Thurman and Richard Jones. Let's see who else is in there.
Yeah, looks like we've got a little while before the next match is going to be.
Well, we'll roll maybe that Tyler Amos and Rudy Fernandez are up over Dennis Posey and Rex Urig, 20-13. So we'll see. Maybe we'll roll that one. We'll wait. Consolation semis and finals, and then we'll have the finals. All happening as singles pool play gets underway. But so the winner of that game, we'll wait on Tyler and Rudy and Dennis and Rex to finish up, and once they do, we'll move that over here to find out who they will be playing against. The winner of Austin Douglas, Justin Gibson, Jody Thurman, and Richard Jones. So we've got a little ways to go before we roll up again on center court. Just as a reminder, just a couple more majors to go before the end of season 19. It's hard to believe. Feels like we were just in you're playing?
I do.
Off to singles pool play?
Andy's like, you're on 3, so.
All right, well, you don't want to argue with him because God only knows where he'll end up. So he came over here and gave you the thumbs up, so good luck. We'll see what happens next in singles pool play as we roll towards crowning a singles champion here in Toledo. If you're watching the broadcast of the Mobile, Alabama major in the Outlaw Center in Mobile, our man Philip Barnett, the Mississippi Ninjas, Stephanie Burgett, taking care of duties yesterday. And unfortunately for Barnett yesterday, he got himself into a king seat situation in seniors, I believe the first time this season, and got double dipped by Daryl Macon. So it took him a while to shake that off. But a lot of great action south, a lot of great action up north. It is the ACO Civil War weekend, the North versus the South. But all in the spirit of good fun and family, and glad you're along for the ride to join us. If you're maybe playing out in the backyard or out in the cul-de-sac today, or no matter where you are, maybe, well, if you're in the bar, throw up the stream, either one of them, up onto the big screen, and make sure you share the links with anybody and everybody you know that's into cornhole. Maybe you know some folks that are thinking about getting in, joining into a group that you play with locally. And this is something I would tell you. We've started reminding you this during the TACO, T-A-C-O, Talking ACO, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern with yours truly and the cornhole dude, Frank Gears. If you're new to the sport and you're just discovering the ACO, much like Alan Ballard did last year during the World Championships in Thronesboro, Kentucky, he just started playing, I think he said in August, got himself some boards and bags, and he asked the boys at CBC, what bags he thinks he should start with. They gave him some advice. He's got himself in a pretty solid spot. He's enjoying himself, having a good time playing. But I would tell you the same thing. If you want to get started and you want to get a little free advice, you can always throw something into the comments here and see if somebody can't step up to help you decide what might be the best set of bags for you to start with. I still, and I'll ask the guy who's sitting down with me right now. He's the gadfly. He's the bon vivant. He's the cornhole dude, Frank Gears. It's good. It's hard to track you down. I'm gonna have to put an air tag on you.
Yeah, that's just because I'm a player.
Yeah, you're a playa or a player. Well, so you're already out of singles?
No. It's getting ready to start here shortly.
That's what I said. So you're already out. But no, Tammy Klinger and I, before she went over to get started in her singles pool play, we're talking about it's hard to believe that we're at the end of season 19 already. Feels like the Louisiana and West Virginia were right there, and but since then we've been everywhere.
That's true, man. I'm jealous though. I've been to about 90% of our majors this year.
Yeah.
And the one we had last week in Rapid City,
Rapid City, yeah.
That was awesome out at the box, man. That's one that we've got to get to next year, Finn. We've got to go broadcast from there and get back out there because that's a nice place. We're there for the next 2 years.
Outstanding. Well, there's no place that welcomes the two of us as a team better than a place called the Badlands. But boy, the photos that were shared from that Deadwood, the Badlands, Crazy Horse, the Mount Rushmore again is still it's something that even I think when you're standing there looking at it, you can't believe it what was done there. It's just all of that stuff.
Pretty amazing. But I'll tell you what, I'm very pleased with the city of Toledo.
I love it.
There are a lot of great restaurants and bars down here by the ball field. We were out last night. I think we went to a nice Irish pub, Blarney's, I believe it was.
Blarney's, yes, we did. Perfectly named. I think they named it for us once we got in there.
What was the place with the special hot dogs? What's that place
Tony
called?
Pacos.
Tony Pacos.
Went in there and tried a Tony Pacos world famous dog, and then we went down and had fish and chips at the pub. It was our own little. We made our own little food
tour.
Yeah, out of everything. But no, you're right. And there's some great walkable restaurants and bars and places to hang. The ball field, Hensville, for the Toledo Mud Hens is right here. It was a big hockey game last night. They had their hockey team in full effect. And this morning I drove down to the Toledo Zoo just to see how far it was from here. It was only about 3 miles from here. And then the Airbnb that we're going to be staying in when we come back in June to see Robert Plant and Allison Krause at the Toledo Zoo facility. There's only another 3 minutes past that. So
that's
nice and compact. There's a lot of cool stuff right here on the banks of the Maumee River. And I agree with you. This Glass City Center is an outstanding facility as well.
Yeah, it's I hope to be back here next year for sure. So we'll see how it goes. But good turnout this year. I mean, we got Mobile, Alabama going on too. So while we're up here in Toledo, Ohio, with several hundred players, we've got a couple hundred down in Mobile as well.
We were just talking about the ACO Civil War weekend, the North versus the South, and no better than the Mississippi Ninja. No one better to be rallying the troops down south. And I guess that makes us damn Yankees up here in the north.
Yankees, baby.
But yeah, they look like they've been having a ton of fun. And I don't know if you saw the results yesterday that it was Daryl Macon won seniors.
Oh, is that right? Did he max out then?
He
might be. He might be a front runner
for player of the season.
Yeah, for player of the season and seniors.
But did you see who he had to beat?
Who? Johnny Thomas?
He double dipped Barnett.
Oh, Barnett, is that?
He double dipped him. He was holding the king seat, and I think he was going in peacocking. And then the next thing you know, he's just standing there staring at the ceiling. I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good.
Oh, man.
But I know he wanted to get back to Stephanie at the announce table, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what he was rushing that game.
I'm sure
he
that's
rushed
exactly
a little bit.
what it was. So
he's Philip is a really good player.
He is, and he's what's funny is the more he puts his attention into the broadcast, the better he seems to be getting at the cornhole, so it makes him less available. But so we've got who we got here? Carol Wozniak. This is some singles pool play here. Boy, that was a rocket shot. I don't recognize Hootie there, number 75. Oh, they're not playing in singles? Oh.
Yeah, I think they're just out there warming up right now.
Staying warm. Okay. Well, Carol Wozniak, she and her husband had a pretty good run in co-ed yesterday. We had
they had a great run in Peoria.
They
were in the championship match there in Peoria while we went way into the night.
Deep into the night. Yeah.
This looks. I like the new process though. Finn is good here where we're going.
The new Saturday.
Yeah, the new Saturday is good for us where we go doubles and then singles. So.
Well, and one of the reasons we talked about this, the reason that we've done this, is the technology allows for it to keep things moving more smoothly. You don't have to wait as long between, one division and another division. It changed up schedules for some people for travel, I know, ahead of time, but it seems to be all shaking out on the wash.
I think the players have gotten used to it now, just after a few majors here. So I think this is the new norm, right?
Right. By the way, I'm just want to give a shout out to Mrs. Bilo. She's been monitoring center court here because she's been texting Clinton at IMF going, "Why aren't you at your booth?" He said, "Give a shout out to my mom if you would." So there it is. But our bag manufacturing partners that are here, IMF, Cisco's over here.
True Cornhole over there.
Cornhole, and then
Why So Serious?
Why So Serious? Matt and his crew.
Matt did a smart little move, giving the bartender a free jersey, so he's got an extra little billboard going on over there.
Smart, yeah. At the Green Construction Group LLC bar. That is the most solidly constructed bar I've ever seen. Although your buddy Scott over there tried to deconstruct us last night.
Oh, man.
When you run into your bartender from your event at another bar in the same town, that is trouble with a capital trouble right there.
Well, like I said earlier, Finn, I really do enjoy this city. Look forward to hopefully the ACO being back here for years to come. Well, might not even be a bad city for a world championship.
No, absolutely not, because, again, lots of hotels very close. This I mean, you can do almost pretty much anything you want with the room that we're in now and expand it. And the Toledo Zoo was world famous. They put, I think somebody said, $2.5 million into upgrading and doing some changes to the aquarium.
How close is the what is it, Cedar Point? What's the amusement park up north?
Cedar Point is in
Sandusky?
Sandusky, yes, thank you. And, I mean, Detroit is 45 minutes to an hour away. I mean, we've seen, well, to that point, we saw the executive producer of Whole Nation, Tracy Pyle, just come in to compete in a couple of divisions yesterday.
She was brushed in and brushed out, man.
Just blew in.
She was my co-ed partner.
That was it, yeah. That's why she was able to go home early.
Oh, dude, that's a little bit low. I'm no Philip Barnett, though. I can tell you that much.
Look at these two. If they couldn't be throwing bags that look any more like each other. As we just watched them warming up on the it's the scourge of center court, the bags that look just like each other. But we've seen some great gameplay. I mean, yesterday was Sammy Van Sickle defeated Bryce Jefferson, and juniors McKenna Ballou took down the perpetual number 2 for the day yesterday, Josephina Ernstberger. She had a couple of number 2 finishes under her belt. Michael Hoaxang took down Tony Pena. Russell Tabers and Martina Belt lived up to what Philip Barnett called, and they took down the co-ed doubles over Tyler Amos and the aforementioned Josephina Ernstberger. BP Bags took down High Rollers in the quads. Lucky's came in third there. And then the blind draw, Nate Stevens and Chad Mayberry. There's a name you haven't heard for about a minute. Is that right?
Chad Mayberry?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a long time, but he did show up, and I'm excited that he's around now.
He and Nate Stevens took down Travis Jordan and Ken Goodhue in the blind draw last night. So there you go. You got to go.
All right, Finn. Let me check out right now because I am playing singles, and I might be being called out right now.
Cool. Well, I'll see you back in about 4 minutes. See ya. All right, and center court action right now is practice action as the warm-ups continue and the singles pool play rolls on. Let's take a look here and see. Jody Thurman and Richard Jones are up 13-8 over Austin Douglas and Justin Gibson. So the winner of that game will take on Tyler Amos and Rudy Fernandez, who just took down Dennis Posey and Rex Urig moments ago. So we will have that here on center court for you, Tyler and Rudy. The team that you wanted to see earlier when we glitched out will take on the winner of the Jody and Richard, Austin and Justin match here as well. Bruce Lalonde and Tony Pena await the winner of that match, and then we'll find out who it is that will advance to face Steve Smith and TJ Miller, who hold the king seat in World Doubles. In the meantime, I am more than happy to share everything I know about Toledo with you once again. Put your earballs on there, son. Oh yeah, put them on. You've already made the motion like, hey, I'm going to talk, so you put them on. I am joined by the inimitable Rudy Fernandez. We thought we had your match earlier on center court, but we had a little technical hiccup. But it looks like the next match will be right here. You and I'm not saying what the technical difficulty was. I'm not saying. Okay, the technical difficulty was, and we've had plenty in the early setup. We had line issues and whatnot with the internet being crossed, so everything the cameras were set up that line went somewhere else. So anyway, bottom line is, and Rudy is doing his best imitation of a mime right now. I appreciate you. Thanks for. You can talk.
No, the last game. I'm glad it wasn't recorded.
Yeah.
I was shooting the highest PPR all day out of everybody, and I choked that game.
Well, I remember yesterday talking with you, and Tammy and I were talking about this, that you kept looking at me and going, God, I hope I can, hold up my end with Tyler. And you had some great bags. I saw some great shot making coming out of your paw. But so you guys will be taking on the winner of the. Let's figure out where this game is. 13-on-10. Jody Thurman and Richard Jones over Austin Douglas and Justin Gibson. Do you have a preference who you'd want to face off in that matchup?
Probably Austin. I think we played them once already today.
Yeah.
And got him. It was a good match.
Very good. All right. Well, and then Bruce Lalonde and Tony Pena will await the winner of that match. Steve Smith, as I mentioned, and T.J. Miller holding the king seat. But you said that yesterday. I said, I hope I can hold up my end, and I feel like you have.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm lacking a little confidence still, but
I don't know why. Why is that? I mean, you've got all the energy of 10 players.
Right.
And you got about 1% of the energy of Frank Gears, but that's a whole different thing. But, yeah, I don't understand. What's the confidence issue?
Do you know who my partner is right now?
Well, it's
world champion.
Well, I recognize him now that he has his hat back on. Yesterday he had that wig jam working.
Oh, yeah.
Between the two of you, I thought between your beard, which you had coiffed perfectly, to his wig jam. He looks pretty stressed sitting over there playing.
I'm thinking so.
Candy Crush? What's he doing on his phone over there?
Probably rather not say.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true. Don't be using the public Wi-Fi for that, son. But no, what's interesting is, I said yesterday I didn't recognize him because, first off, he's just playing in his regular jersey. The wig jam was working with no hat. He didn't have his Craig with him.
Right.
It's kind of interesting because we're calling this the ACO Civil War weekend, the North versus the South, because, Toledo and Mobile. But it's brother against brother, sort of split, because Craig is playing down in Mobile.
Yes.
And he's playing up here. So we've got all the different ridiculous comparisons.
Well, thanks, Craig Irvin, for letting me shoot with your boy.
And right when we got the camera on him, he got up. He knew we were tracking him. Now we're looking at him pull his underwear out of his ass.
Are we up yet?
Let's see. Oh yeah, Jody Thurman and
we are up.
Yep, that's it.
All right. He's looking for me.
All right. Yeah, he's over here, Tyler. The last place you'd expect to see him. Yeah, he is looking everywhere except over here. All right, I'll let you go, brother.
Hey.
Go get him. Good luck to you. He is. He's looking all over for you. The only place he hasn't looked is where you are. This should be a beauty right here. Jody Thurman and Richard Jones. Tyler Amos, Rudy Fernandez getting ready to get their down and back warm-up pitches in. Blueprint bags. Let's see what these guys are throwing. Hey, Rudy, what are you guys throwing? What bags are you throwing? Arcane Eccentrics. Eccentrics. Okay, very good. Very good. Well, this should be a good one. I was at some point, I think I'm going to grab Isaac, who was over here doing a little bit of commentary, kind of pirate radio commentary earlier, and see if we can get him over here. He can do some matches. I'll go take a nap. The Blueprint Gamers? Okay, I knew they were Blueprints. I didn't know which line. So the Arcane Eccentrics versus the Blueprint Gamers. Jody very clear about what line. All right, Frank is already back over here, so that pool play must have gone really well. But photos being taken all over the Glass City Center. Again, Jesse Hempy, Mia Ray, Jonesy back there running this thing like Clark work. I saw April Clemens was playing in doubles earlier down in Mobile. I did not see a final score there, but the crew is all over the country spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of cornhole. Finn, the loudmouth for the ACO, and your co-host for the Taco every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern on our YouTube and Facebook channels for the ACO. If you haven't been to the ACO YouTube channel in a minute, there's a lot of great content there. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell so you can be notified when new content games go up. Sometimes we have these little kind of speed matches. What do we call those? The fast pitch matches up there. Sometimes, in fact, some of the Dallas matches we decided to go ahead and play in full because some of them were so fantastic out of Grand Prairie, Texas. But also at the top of the ACO page there on YouTube is ACO TV. You click that link, and there are hours and hours and hours of great match content that you can just throw up on the TV and have in the background no matter what's going on during your day. We will be there with you via ACO TV. So the Arcane Eccentrics coming out of the blue lane, Blueprint Gamers, ironically, coming out of the red lane. The blue lane held for the higher seed, which is Tyler and Rudy at 31 against Jody and Richard, coming in as the number 33 seeds. And looks like we are underway. I'm going to see if I can track down Isaac and have him come over here and spend some time. Imagine you would probably like to hear a secondary voice. Yeah, he's this is one of those matches that has the potential, as their match did earlier, did Rudy and Tyler, no matter the score, just to go on and on and on and on. All right. Taters exchanged. Rudy has discarded his cap. So he's playing without, and today, and Tyler is playing with a lid. First bag right up the middle. That's got to help that confidence he was just talking about, does Rudy Fernandez. 10 people's worth of energy and personality in one person, a perfect counterpoint to a guy who I think his blood pressure, Tyler Amos's blood pressure, I think is 4. Max Klinger would be proud to hear you had Tony Pacos. Yeah, and I got a picture in front of Klinger's bar. So did A.T. Klinger, although he spells it wrong. Let's see what else we got up here. Amber Daniels has thrown her hat in the ring for Thurman and Jones. Matt Garwood, let's go, Rudy Fernandez. Katie Gatewood. You got all the woods, buddy. Let's go, Rudy Fernandez. You're doing great alone, Finn. Sounds great in the car as I drive back to TC. Well, I appreciate you, buddy. If I'm not any good at it after all these years, then somebody paid me a dumb amount of money to waste their time over the years. There's nothing I like better than doing this. All right, so an early 2-0 score. Tyler Amos, Rudy Fernandez have this early lead as I'm joined by a delicate, I'll use the word delicate, Cisco Garza, who's sitting down at the table here with me. I think we're going to get him for about 6 points, maybe 6 rounds, and then he's going to have to go get back into traction. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. The owner, proprietor, and the mascot for Ruthless Bags, Cisco, welcome to the announce booth, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So My question is this: you'll bring this in a little bit tighter in here. There you go. I want to get the full Cisco effect as we watch your boy Rudy Fernandez. I mean, they're throwing the arcanes today, but he throws ruthless on any given Sunday. Yeah.
Yep. He has been a player of mine for 2 years now. Well, season and a half.
Yeah. And this one's going to be a slugfest. I think these guys, they all have very similar games. I haven't seen Jody play a whole lot because he, like you, being a bag manufacturer and oftentimes is working the booth and selling and, you know, along with, who else we got here? True Cornhole, IMF. You guys are set up in the Ruthless. You've got your normal setup with the big flag, and then I think Why So Serious and True over there. So from your perspective, we were talking about this yesterday, and this, you know, we were just speculating because, you know, Charlie Case is here. He's the man behind Lucky's. And we had said something about one, I forget who it was throwing 5 6s. And those are speed ratings for bags. And he corrected us and said he said 7 8s or something like that. And I said, you know what the difference is, Tammy? She goes, what? I go, nothing.
Yeah.
it's all in your head.
Sometimes it is.
Is it?
Sometimes it is, but they do have a different speed with different materials, and but your throw has a lot to do with it, how pumped up you are, and
right, your ability to control. Now, so the question is, and the highest speed rating is it still 12?
Well, there are some people out there that have a bag that they rated at 12.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it's faster than a 10, but
well, again, allegedly faster.
Allegedly faster. That's the fastest I've seen is a 12.
I mean, what fabric would you have to use to have a 12? Would it be?
It feels almost like a silk on one side.
Is it? It would have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be. I mean, I'm thinking like it would have to be that non-stick stuff that you cook eggs in. I mean, you'd have to hit the very bottom of the board,
and it does too. And if it sits on the board, it might slide back down.
Slide back off. Is that right? So talk a little bit about the experience now. I said the very delicate Cisco Garza. What did you do yesterday? You collapsed a chair that you were folding out or something? What happened to you?
Don't make me sound overweight.
No, I'm not. No, I'm saying
it wasn't set all the way up.
One of those fold-out chairs that wasn't fully set up.
Yeah, one of those hammock-style chairs. I went to sit down, and it wasn't fully set up, and I went straight to the concrete. And pretty sure I fractured my tailbone.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I appreciate you taking a moment over here between Advils to spend some time and talk about the game. And as these guys play, you know, feel free to tell me what I'm missing. If there's something that you're seeing that I'm not seeing, that wouldn't be unique to this situation.
Well, you know, I love to play the game of cornhole. Nice. I'm not the greatest at it. But I did have the pleasure of playing with Jody yesterday twice in Crew Cup, or in quads, bag makers quads. And we got him one game. They got us the last one. But Jody, for a bag maker, he throws the bag well.
Yeah, and these guys, Tyler and Rudy just jumped out a little bit, a couple points ahead here, 4-on-2. Boy, I tell you, and that's some. I don't know how much you got to see of Tyler Amos yesterday. His airmail wasn't doing what he typically expects from it until the very end of the day, and then he dialed it in, and he had some just killer bags. And he got his confidence back.
Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't get the chance to watch it, but they were over by the booth talking about it.
Yeah.
He heated up.
And so we've got oh, yeah. Yeah. These bags, again, it's the center court scourge. I know we've got the eccentrics and the gamers. They look very similar to one another. I think we're looking at possibly doing something next season to keep that from being the case on center court.
More of a contrast, you mean?
Yeah, a little bit of an easier contrast. It's easier on the viewer. It certainly would be easier on me. But the bottom line is Scoreholio is here to pick up the slack no matter what I think I see. So that was a 4-on-3. That also is not just the score of the frame, but the score of the game. Amos and Fernandez up by a penny. Jody's got a very easy release.
Yeah, he has a little hitch in the start of his swing. And when you're playing next to him, it kind of throws you off because you expect him to do a little backswing, and he kind of draws it back to his hip, and it doesn't swing like you normally would see somebody throw it.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy's got almost a full pendulum there, and he does a lot of that. Now, let me ask you this. See all that flipping he does with his bag? Tammy Klinger and I were talking about that because it's come up as a topic before about etiquette. Leaning down to pick your bag up when somebody else is in their swing, and him doing that flipping, and you got to be able to catch that in your periphery. Does that bother you? Do you hear players talk about that?
It doesn't bother me per se. I've heard people talk about it. I do try to stop flipping the bag as they start their swing, their motion of throwing the bag, and because to me it does. There are things that people do that can really throw you off. Whether the way they're holding their arm or flipping the bag.
Yeah. Well, and the spinning, you see a lot of the juniors that do that spinning out of the corner of your eye. That could throw you just a little bit. And I don't think it's done with malicious intent, especially, Rudy, that's a nice roll bag right there.
Yeah, I think Rudy's just so much energy in Rudy. That's just him keeping up with himself, trying to settle down.
Just apparently probably not exactly what Rich was wanting to do there. Didn't seem very happy with it. I don't know if it just didn't land as far up as he wanted it. But Tyler Amos, who earlier up and over. Oh, and he got it. I can't tell what he took with him, but it comes up and hits and drags 2 down with it. So it's a 10-on-8. That puts Jody and Richard back 6-on-4, 6 up 4. Nice first bag there by Jody Thurman. Again, they're throwing the Blueprint Gamers.
Yeah, I think these bags they're throwing are essentially the same exact bag, same materials, same carpet sides.
Has this been the year of the carpet bag, kind of the return of the carpet bag?
It has been. As a bag maker, it's actually kind of overwhelming sometimes because there's a lot of carpets coming out, and especially with the youth coming up, they like the roll bags and cut bags, and carpet likes to do that.
Oh, nice bag.
Good
right
bag.
There. He the last person who thought that was going to happen was Rudy. As soon as that left his hand, he's like, oh, God. So a double 4-bagger there leaves it at 6-on-4. A couple of shots, he's pointed up to the ceiling and said thank you. So he might be playing his own single game of doubles over there with the third partner that we can't see.
It's just his other personality.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they are always fun at parties. He and whoever he brings with him in his head.
Oh, for sure.
Up and over. Yeah, and that's the problem that Tyler was having yesterday. Just being able to dial in that airmail. It's been interesting to watch Richard, too. There's another one over the top, and he runs one off the back. So 1 in, 1 off. So it's 2 off now. So what is it, 3-on-3?
3-on-3.
Richard just stacks them up. He's just content to play defense. Well, this one's coming over. Up and over. Yeah. Oh, and again. All right, well, 4-on-3. That's not doing much for your PPR.
Nope.
But that'll be the additional penny to the tally. So 6-on-4 becomes 7-on-4. He can't even bear to look. He's got his hat pulled down. Kayleen Van Lanker. Let's go, Dad. Rudy Fernandez.
Yeah, Rudy does have a cheering section at home. They all watch every one of his games.
Yeah.
Are always cheering him on.
So we talked a little bit about the resurgence of the carpet bag. We had our first major in Dalton, Georgia, the carpet capital of the world. Did you do any scouting down there?
I actually did not go down to Dalton.
Do you?
I didn't go down
to Dalton. Oh, you didn't go to
Nope.
Dalton. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying you maybe only go when we're not there so nobody can see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Scoping out different carpets.
I mean, I try to hang out with a different crowd of people.
A better sort.
a better sort. Yeah, I don't remember what I did. I didn't go to Dalton this year. I missed a few I wanted to go to, Atlantic City and Dalton.
Yeah. Very different experiences, and that's what the great thing is. 35 majors-ish around the country. Black Hills, lots of great photos and stories from the Black Hills last week as these guys continue to shoot at one another. Little loss of control of the hole there by Tyler. Is he going to chase? Is he going to chase this?
Looks like it.
Slick side down.
Good
And
bag.
he moved it over with one more in the chamber. Richard says, I'm not going to make it that easy on you. Slick side down. He's going to go up and through. Oh, and he grabbed it. Nice grab. Great shot. And everything he needed going for him there. Inside arm tied up against the board. So 11 on 8. What's the strangest request you've had for a set of bags?
Oh.
From material to design or anything?
I can't say I really had some strange material requests.
Yeah.
I had a guy request a set of boards and bags with not the most inappropriate picture of a woman on there, but he wanted me to put his wife's face on the girl.
Oh.
And I said, if she came to me and told me that, maybe I would, but I just can't do it. He's like, it's going to be really funny. I said, man, I just can't do it.
Right.
And
well, you don't know what you're dragging yourself into.
Yes,
exactly. You can't. You can't necessarily trust what the outcome there might be. Boy, look at that, Rudy. Again, talking to his coach up in the air.
Yeah, but we, for bag design wise, everybody's pretty. They have their own custom ideas in their mind, but nothing crazy. A lot of business logos or team colors, things like that.
Yeah. Well, it seems like we talked about this last year, or maybe the year before. The job you guys have coming up to name lines of bags is almost like craft brewers trying to figure out what they're going to call their beers anymore. You're running out of words.
Oh, you do. So Ruthless, when I named Ruthless, I, kind of a personality trait. So I leaned more towards naming my bags after traits of personalities. Malicious, aggressive, things like that. So that was a little easier to come up with names, but sometimes it's tough. Because once you name a bag something, then your design has to fit it.
Then it has to match up. A couple of snowmen for the frame. 11 on 8. Still the score. Jody Thurman, Richard Jones. Over top of Tyler Amos and Rudy Fernandez. The winner of this match will take on Bruce Lalonde and Tony Pena. And Steve Smith and TJ Miller await in the king's seat for the doubles as singles pool play is underway. What's a line of bags that another maker might have come up with where you said, oh man, why didn't I wish I'd have thought of that? Have you seen one?
I really like High Rollers has a good line of bags, their names, the Pit Boss and things like that.
Gambling based.
Yeah, his Vegas theme kind of.
That's cool.
I like the casino and
Oh yeah, I know that to be true.
Yeah, it's he's got a cool line, some cool names. I really like the way he does his designs and things like that.
Well, the High Roller would lend you to believe that there's going to be quite a few themed bags along that way. I've seen you've seen cartoon character themes. You've seen you guys have to be very careful, I'm sure, with licensing too, that you don't end up with a cease and desist over a use of a character.
Oh, for sure.
Copyright material. That's got to be its own division of the company, I would think, because these guys continue to pile them in around the hole.
Yeah, I think people like to push the limits with them. We do, and you do got to be careful with it.
You ever had one that you had to withdraw, that you started and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, can't do that?
No, I actually did go a little far when I was just making boards. I wasn't even making bags yet, and I got a letter from a beer company.
Really?
For doing some boards, yep.
Oh, one drops, one hops. Yeah, I'm letting Cornhole do the heavy lifting on this one because as I look at these bags, I'm having a hard time telling whose is whose and where's they is. The important thing is they know whose are whose. 6 on 6 leaves the score at 13-8. You know, we had the radio station I used to work for. I think we received we did a big fireworks show in Cincinnati every year. 500,000 people come out on each total, both sides of the river, down on the Ohio. It's about a 40-minute show. And years ago, we did, the theme was Jurassic Spark. And so it was our frog mascot. It made into that logo of the Jurassic Park logo. And so we got a cease and desist from Steven Spielberg. And so we immediately put it in a frame.
Oh, nice.
And we complied with their cease and desist because the date that they asked us to stop doing that was 2 weeks after we were planning to do it anyway.
Oh, nice.
So Jurassic Spark lived on.
That's
and then, but we still stayed in the good graces of Steven Spielberg's attorneys. Oh, goodness. 10 on 7 right now, so 16-8. Jody Thurman, Richard Jones putting it to Tyler and Rudy. Rudy's stepping off to the side to get out of the field of vision there. We're gonna have to see if Tyler Amos is able just to turn on the juice because I would tell you, I think Richard's done a very nice job of playing defense against him, and that lack of confidence that he seemed to have yesterday in his airmails is carried over to today.
Yeah, I think for sure. I think with you talking about how his airmail heating up in the afternoon, I think Richard really noticed that he's just a bit off with it. So if he just blocks it up, puts the ball in his court to have to shoot it.
Well, and I know he knows Rudy enough to know that when Rudy gets amped up and he's worried about what he's going to be able to contribute and so on and so forth, that Jody, you want, and he's standing next to Jody, who's cool as a cucumber. Oh, what a shot. Just muscled through. That should give him the opportunity to push through that, both of those. Oh, he didn't. I thought he would try that grab like he did before. He's still got one more to go, does Tyler. Oh, nice bag. Good stuff. And just as I talk about all of his defense, he comes through with some monster offense. Tyler come in and try to grab. He chased a little bit. That's all right. It'll be a 12 on 10. Pick up another couple. So 18 on 8. Again, the winners of this match will face Bruce Lalonde and Tony Pena right here on center court next. You will probably be over in traction over in the Ruthless Bags Infirmary.
Yeah, I'm pretty quiet right now. I get some sharp pains every now and then, but
well, I've got a little Advil if that'll help you out at all. So you let me know.
Well, I appreciate that.
I send my Advil to the other end of my body, up to my head, after a night like last night. So I always wondered. That's another thing we were talking about. I don't understand how certain things work. I have no idea how medicine knows where to go.
Yeah, I don't.
Doesn't make any sense.
None at all.
But that's why I'm sitting here doing this.
Somebody told me yesterday that you wanted Tylenol for above the shoulders. Ibuprofen for below the shoulders.
Really?
And to me, still doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, I load 4 up, and that airmail was a nice shot, but it wasn't enough from Rudy Fernandez. Jody Thurman and Richard Jones advanced 21-8. We'll take on Bruce Lalonde and Tony Pena. Brother, I appreciate you even being in pain.
Yeah.
Coming over here and sitting in, and appreciate the insights from the bag maker perspective. I'm probably going to look around and try to get them from others. I'm curious to hear how all you all are a one boat rises, all boats rise kind of business, and we love that about our bag partners. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah.
Feel better, and whatever it takes below or above the shoulders, I'm sure you'll figure it out and get it done.
Yeah, I wish I could stay longer, but I got to sit in a little bit higher of a chair.
Yes, you do.
It's just killing me. But
all right, Cisco Garza from Ruthless Bags. Appreciate the time. Anything you're looking for, if your bag your game is in need of a little something extra, make sure you get ruthless with it. All right, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate you.
it.
All right, very good. All right, Bruce Lalonde, Tony Pena, the 21 seed, Jody Thurman and Richard Jones, the 33 seed, going to face off here. Bruce and Tony out of the blue seed higher lane, and Jody and Richard swapping over. What's interesting, there he is. We're going to add to the party. Welcome Isaac back. You heard Isaac a little earlier today, and Cisco came over, gave me about as much as his tailbone would allow. He had one game in him, and now he's going to go back over into a more comfortable chair. And he said he was talking about his pain threshold with his injury from yesterday, and I think Tylenol for, he said, above the shoulders, Advil below the shoulders, but I think that Yingling covers head to toe.
I would assume, and that's what I've been told, is that is the most beneficial pain relief at these kind of tournaments.
Yeah.
Whether it's some people are Miller Lite, some people are Bud Light, but that is the most high-rated pain relief system that we have out here.
Absolutely. Side effects may include, look at all of us.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you need to know. So you were in here a little bit ago, and you saw some of the early rounds in the doubles. We're working our way down towards the losers bracket. This is the losers bracket final. The winner of this match will have the honor of taking on the king seed holders Steve Smith and TJ Miller.
That's a good team right there.
Yeah, they really are, and they tend to show up and show out when they may not come to every major, but when they do, they are usually around at the end of the doubles day. That's for sure.
Yeah, we have I have the fortunate or unfortunate fact of having them close to home. So regionals and those big-time tournaments, we see a lot of Steve and TJ, and podium finishes for them is nothing that is uncommon.
Right.
Absolutely.
And what, tell everybody that doesn't know, what area you're talking about, Tennessee, Clarksville?
We are from the Owensboro, Evansville.
Oh, okay.
Kind of that hub, which has the most ACO pros I have ever seen in one grouping. There is a ton of high-quality players there, which means the regionals are very competitive, and it makes you better as a player for sure. But it's the talent pool in that southern Indiana, western Kentucky, even southern Illinois areas is phenomenal.
Well, yeah, and we were talking a little bit about that earlier, Tammy and I. Some of the regionals are like majors. With West Kentucky Cornhole.
Yep.
And the Tabors Cornhole, the Corn Dominium or Barn Dominium or whatever he calls it. Those majors or those regionals do play like majors. I know Whole Nation came down and did a really nice piece about the last one that just happened here within the last month. So yeah, you're definitely seeing the highest level of competitions. But to your point, that's how you get better.
It is, and it's for starting out players, it definitely can be frustrating here and there, but it's all about how you can improve yourself, and playing the best is how you're going to get to that point.
Right.
Unlock those next thresholds of skill level, developing those different kinds of bags, because you see all these pros with these different shots. Richard Jones has a phenomenal roll bag, as we're going to see it in this game, but kind of watching them do it and playing against them as they do it kind of helps you develop those next skills and things you can do, even though in the beginning it's frustrating. That's how you get better.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because Richard last game was playing a lot of defense against Tyler, and he's the first guy I've ever seen use a roll bag to block, roll up over and then to block to pinch. Okay. He's not rolling over to go in the hole. He's rolling to increase his defensive strategy, and I saw him do it a couple times. I thought the first time maybe it was a mistake, but then I started to realize he was doing it on purpose.
And if you can get to that level where that's an intentional block defensive bag, that is a skill level I can't even fathom at this point. That is insane.
How long have you been playing?
I started last April. My kind of first big event was the Game of Throws down in Hopkinsville that year. But it's been, so I was able to sneak into the Worlds at the very end of last season, and then this is my first full one, and it's been a very long and winding road for sure.
Right. Well, the ingredients of the soup that need to be made if you want to get better. You've just outlined every single one of them. Now, you watch these guys. I'll tell you, Jody has been playing very, very consistently, very solidly through the losers bracket. Bruce is lucky to save something there. So what? 12 on 6.
12-8.
Or 12 on 8. Yeah,
12-8.
On 8.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I picked that one up quickly. 12 on 8. So 4-spot increases the lead 8-0. Jody and Richard over Bruce and Tony. Tony had a good day yesterday. They're throwing the BP bags. They won the quads, Bagmaster quads yesterday with those bags.
I know. Big fan of Richard Jones and Jody with their gamers. That's a very popular blueprint bag.
I'll tell you what, Tony looks like he's building a display over there on the right side of the hole with his bags.
Yeah, I always a fan when your opponent puts one to the right and your next bag just hangs out right there. You're building a little train down that board. We see that more often than you think we would, but it's a very common occurrence.
Yeah, and we noticed that yesterday. It seemed like everybody that was lining up was to either side. It used to be straight across the middle, and then you start building that little reverse pyramid down the front, but it does seem to be doing what you're saying, building a little snake there, if you will, to either side.
And I know that some of the players have mentioned that the center court board seems a little bit more sticky than some of the auxiliary boards. Yep.
Well, that is the carpets underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping the coolness of the concrete floors in here from radiating up. That would make sense.
Yeah, I know that the Hoaxangs had an issue with that earlier in their losers bracket game because their Valors play fast, but they did not play fast when they were up here. It was a very sticky game, and that's not what they're used to.
Well, and it's interesting because so many players say, yeah, my goal is to get to center court, and sometimes I think maybe it's
plays against you.
Yeah, maybe you don't want to be there. 10-0 right now. Jody Thurman, Richard Jones putting it to Bruce Lalonde and Tony Pena. He's going to take a timeout and come down, and I don't know if he's going to go do an adjustment above the neck or an adjustment of the board. We're talking about strategy. I think they had a lot to talk about after that last game loss up here. Bruce had a couple of dirty bags, a couple off the backside, and Tony, God bless him, he was doing everything he could to keep his head in the game, but sometimes that can be your undoing very, very quickly.
And a lot of times the timeout is defensive, trying to knock Richard and Jody out of their rhythm because they have been grooving these last two games. I will say this is the second time I've ever seen a timeout after one bag. Normally you see like 7 bags have been thrown, the player's got 1 bag left and they call a timeout. Last night in the blind draw, 1 bag on the board, and we're going to take a timeout to look at it. Which, again, to each their own. No problem with that. It's just very interesting.
No, and again, I think you just identified it. Sometimes maybe it's just more of a disruptor sort of timeout than it is anything else.
Richard Jones sends a rare bag off that backside, and Tony can pick up some points.
Oh, when he does, he sneaks a nice bag in there left to right.
9-on-2 right now. Tony in for 7 and to kind of knock the seal off and put some points on the board. And he can't.
The 4th bag blues.
Oh.
They strike.
They strike on center court more than us.
Yeah, 10-on-5 is nice, but boy, to waste an opportunity like that. That's a big center court bag right there. So 10-0 becomes 10-on-5.
We'll see if Bruce is able to kind of control some of the tempo now as Jody sends one off that back around 2 o'clock, probably out of play. See if he can capitalize on it.
Yeah, there's only one player that I've seen, maybe 1.5, that could go get that bag, and it's Isaac Hurt.
I was going to say, I know it's probably a Hurt boy.
It's one of the two of them. Yep. And on any given day, it might be 0.75 and 0.75 of each of them that goes and does it. But I have seen them retrieve bags that I thought were well out of play. But so that'll be a 12-on-10.
And they can kind of continue to build that momentum and hold that lead bag.
Couple more for Bruce and Tony. That all-important first bag. Boy, those things just circle the drain at the last possible second. Drop in. He throws a high bag with a fairly significant angle.
Mm-hmm. He does, and that kind of helps him keep control because if he can anticipate where it's going to kick, your arm angle changes with every shot. So kind of understanding your bags and where they're going to play gives you the ultimate benefit. 5-on-3. All right.
Pile them up.
In the hole to watch. Is he going to roll over the whole thing? Nope, he's going to go up.
We'll go up and up. He gets one in, one off the back.
6-on-5. They continue to kind of chip away. A 10-point lead becomes 10-8. And you got to think that timeout really helped kind of calm the nerves a little bit, kind of mitigate some of that damage. And playing much more controlled and fluid, and it just seems a little easier.
And I guarantee you, somewhere in Tony's head, he's like, if I had put that bag in the hole and taken the 3 points instead of the 1, we'd be tied.
Yep.
And but again, we've talked about this a lot as well. You've got to. It's like golf. You have to be able to put that last shot out of your head, whether it's good or bad. You've got to have a very, very short memory.
It's a game of highs and lows, and the best players are able to kind of control, their emotions and not play up, not play down, and that really kind of separates the good from the great, per se, is how you're able to kind of handle those massive waves.
Yeah, you can't rent out space in your head to anyone else or even yourself. There's a wasted opportunity there. That fourth bag blues happens so often. There's 10 on 8 for the frame and 10 on 10 for the game. Wow.
10 unanswered, and it's a whole new ball game.
Yep.
Tony's, it's definitely not out of play, but especially being on the opposite side of his lane, it's going to be difficult. We'll see how aggressive he wants to be, or if maybe he'll see if Richard Jones will bring it in for him as Richard goes right over. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Kind of just took a little...
That's a good bag by Tony.
Yeah, it's nice to put his bag in play, and then there it is. It's just...
the defense.
I'm going to sit on you with my bag, and then look at that. Look what he forced.
He can get 4 if he cleans it.
Run it up and over. Yep. So 12 on 8. Yep. And very quietly doing their business.
Yes.
Our Jody and Richard.
Yeah, not a lot of flash, not a lot of sizzle, just very consistent, very clean, keeping things down, and that playing small ball per se in the baseball world is how you can win games. Absolutely. You don't need all those shots if you can just run them down.
Yeah. Nice bag there.
Jody has another one that's kind of cross his lane, so it depends how aggressive he wants to be. He kind of continues to push. It has a foot in the water, that corner.
Yeah, I bit.
Don't think he's going to go after it. Why waste or why kind of risk there?
Yeah, no reason to chase.
Nope. Which is definitely the right decision, especially in a close game. And Bruce gets 2.
Oh, there it is. All right, so 14-12. First bag back in the hand of Tony Pena. Nicely placed.
I thought he was going to go over it.
Yeah.
It kind of died.
Yeah. Oh, nice drag.
Big shot here in the late rounds.
And that is how you make Richard rethink the use of that bag as a defensive.
But now with Richard being able to roll over it, Tony has to shoot it again, or he's going to go through, which is a good bag. That's not a bad bag.
He tried to roll, and it didn't finish.
Oh, man. Right in front, and Tony has a decision to make.
Wow. He risks hitting that bag and bouncing off the back.
And we'll take a timeout.
His final timeout of the match. So he's got 2 down, 1 on for a 7 against a, 5?
5,
7 on 5,
Yep. So he's got options here. He can either shoot it. He can lay behind Richard and make Richard either shoot or roll over it. He can try to roll over it. I'm not sure if that's in Tony's bag. I've seen a couple kind of half rolls and then limit it to 8 on whatever Richard decides to do. We'll see. He goes and he sits behind.
He's going to sit.
I don't hate that decision. It depends on what Richard does, though. Will make us rethink that statement.
Up and over. Oh, and he drops 1. That's the wash. That was a very complicated wash.
Yeah, of all the situations I was going to run through down that list, that was not one of them.
Yeah.
Hitting one bag and kicking your bag to the left and staying on the board was not in my bingo card.
Well, I was kind of waiting to see if he was going to invent a shot there where he'd roll up over his own bag and grab it on the way, and both of
them
would then go. Yeah.
If anybody's going to do it, it's probably going to be Richard with his roll bag. Absolutely. Jody and Richard still hold a 2-point lead here as we get to the later rounds. Bruce has one off to the left. Again, one of those cross-angle bags that's just so devastating because you can't really get to it.
Yeah, you can't get it back.
being around 3 o'clock if it's on your side is one thing. Being 9 o'clock when it's across your body is just heartbreaking because there's nothing you can do with that bag. You have to hope your opponent might be able to touch it.
Help you out, yeah.
Jody for 2, and he does.
Gets it. All right. So that's going to increase 14 to 12 to 16 to 12. And again, the winners will take on the king seed holders, TJ Smith. Or Steve Smith. God. Oh, God.
At this point,
It's
they're
been a long
basically
morning.
family.
TJ Miller and Steve Smith.
The Smith brothers at this point.
Yes, the Smith twins.
Yeah, there you go. Richard has one that's out of reach, but we'll see if he can kind of play defense enough to limit the damage as he kind of rolls behind Tony's bag. Tony's might have to step out and try to wedge this one between those goalposts, and he does. That's a good bag.
Yeah, he got one, and he got to stand up there. And
being slick side down is very helpful for him.
Through.
Ooh. I don't hate that bag. Richard kind of blocking up that front of the hole. He goes down. Taps one in.
Oh, he still got one.
5-on-5 right now. Each player has a bag left. Richard goes right over it.
What a great roll.
And a round that was looking like it was going to benefit Tony Pena just flipped, and Tony's going to have to either shoot it or push through.
Oh.
Down.
What a shot.
Couldn't get the piggyback, but he got the wash.
Yeah,
a lot of complicated washes today.
There have been. There absolutely have been. That it hit, it sat, it thought, it dove. It was pretty good. A time release bag from Tony Pena.
And he almost got the piggyback. It just wouldn't. Not enough. You thought slick side down, it might fall. It did not.
Well, we watched these guys throw those bags earlier here on center court, and they did not drip. I mean, they are.
Okay.
I don't know if it's they're just stiff. They're new. I'm not exactly sure what, but they did not drip. They had to be put exactly where they wanted them on that hole to get them to go in. So I'm not surprised to not see that one piggyback.
And yeah, that definitely can play a part. Is, if your bags aren't as hole friendly, and in a shot like that, you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce still in a position to pick up 2 as Jody has one that's off to the right out of play.
Just try to, as you said before, minimize the damage if possible, but Bruce just ready to run it up the middle and clean it up. Will there be 4th bag blues, or will he get it to fall? And he does, so 12 on 10. This is a good one. This is a good one.
14-16. It was once 10-0.
Yeah, well, and it's funny is we thought that last game was going to be the true slugfest, but it turns out this one is, after, like you said, what was it, 10-0 early on?
10-0. And then it was 10-10, and now it's kind of been a back and forth rocking chair.
Nice bag.
Tony is just dialed in with that airmail, and we'll see if Richard answers, and he does.
Well done. And at the angle that Tony throws, if he's gonna hit it with that bag sitting where it was, there was no way it wasn't going to. Wow, that's a little croquet bag. Oh, look at that, just so smooth. I love this little Toledo air show we're seeing. Going to run it through.
Big push, and
and he misses.
But that does make it tough, Richard. You think if he rolls, he's going to bring something with him.
Just lay it low.
Yep. That's the right decision. Another 2 points stretches that lead back out to 4. As they maintain lead bag.
Yesterday we had juniors, women's, seniors, co-ed, doubles, BP quads, or BP bags ended up winning the Bagmaster quads yesterday. The blind draw, Nate Stevens and Chad Mayberry took down Travis Jordan and Ken Goodhue, and we're about to find out who's going to be battling the Smith twins in the center court final for the doubles.
They're only related in Ohio.
That's right.
Jody again, and we've seen a lot of 10s from Jody in the second half of this game, and
when he misses, he's missing. I mean, you could put a chalk outline around that bag, and he'd be inside of it.
And we'll see if Bruce can clean it up and get his 2, and he does.
Circles the drain left to right, so that's going to pick up a couple. 18 on 14 becomes 18 on 16.
And now at this point, you wonder, Tony and Bruce, they weathered the first storm. 10-0, got it back to 10-10. Do they have that final finishing punch in them, or are they just going to run out of gas? Because this has been a back and forth. This one has been a slugfest. You're absolutely right. It's been back and forth, and which team is going to be able to deliver that final knockout?
We saw that happen quite a bit yesterday in the co-ed doubles. That's a great shot.
And now Tony's got to go up.
Boy. There's risk reward. There's a nice airmail to follow. Wow.
7-on-3 right now on the board. He's got to go up, and he's got to come down.
He did.
In to win, and he can't.
Off the back, he can't finish.
He gets one. The game could have been over. 7-on-6 makes it 19-16, and they have a pulse. He made two straight airmails, and we thought this is a lock, and it went off the backside.
You used the word groove earlier, and you felt like he didn't waste any time. He knew what he wanted to do, but just maybe a little adrenaline. Pushed it off the back.
And we'll see if Jody. So right now, the next mistake for Bruce and Tony could end this game. So you got to think, is Jody going to be able to control his bags and stay down the middle and limit that? Oh, there we go. Is this one? It's on his side. It's around 7 o'clock. It's very much in play. How aggressive does he want to be with a 3-point lead? And you see, he didn't even try to touch that one. I think he's just going to let it go. This bag will tell us. Oh, and he could get 4. Bruce for 4.
And he does.
And a late game lead change. It's 2019. You got to think that Richard Jones airmail that went off the back is looming large right now.
Monster. And now it's the hardest point to get.
Next mistake will lose this game. What a good rollback. And
not a lot of action in the air, but it did what it was supposed to do once it hit the wood. And Tony,
no.
Tony, that slipped out of his hand. Did you see? When he let it go, it came out way lower than we would expect. And
he knew it. Yeah. And again, even a 10-9. A 10-9 ends this game. If you're Tony, you have to try to manufacture another miss. First off, you have to collect that bag, which, and his third bag's out of play.
Can't be done.
Right now it's 5-on-4. Yeah. Oh, so he has to go in. So he doesn't have to go in, but if he doesn't go in, then Richard can put it on for the win. Around 5-on-5. On to win.
Yeah.
They're looking to confirm, but from what we see, from our angle here, it's 5-on-5 because Tony has one that's out of play. That's off the back.
Yeah. And that makes it all unnecessarily moot anyway at that point. So congratulations. Nicely done. Wow, Jody Thurman, Richard Jones, 21-20 over Bruce Lalonde and Tony Pena. And Tony had a little run like that yesterday in seniors and just came up a little bit short. But man, what a great set of games they did to get through doubles, and he's now. And what's interesting earlier, who was keeping whose head in the game? Now it's the opposite, with Bruce saying to Tony, "No, man, don't sweat it. It's all good." So you see the obviously the Smith twins have now made it to center court. Steve Smith, T.J. Miller against Jody Thurman and Richard Jones, the higher seeds, Steve Smith and T.J. The 3 seed, the 33 seed, Jody and Richard, and we're going to get to see it all over again.
Steve Smith in his neon green Lucky's shorts. TJ Smith Miller in his neon pink Lucky's shorts. Definitely a fashion icon here on center court.
No question. No question. Charlie Case somewhere is twitching and involuntarily.
Well, Charlie has his, pyramid, polygon, rainbow quarter zip jersey, which is definitely a sight to see.
Yep.
They are very loud with their colors here in Lucky Land. And, we talked about earlier in that third place game is it's a lot of small ball. That's what Jody and Richard do. And again, they made plenty of mistakes. But as we're good here in the broadcast booth.
No, it's pretty funny because I know exactly what he just said inside his own head, and we cannot use it here. Well, we could. It's a stream, but we probably wouldn't want to. So, yeah, this is going to be a banger, as they like to say in the WWE. Banger after banger after banger after banger. And yeah, so back to your point about small ball, I don't see any reason for them to change their approach here.
And it wasn't pretty. You know, there were parts of that game, that third place game, that got, you know, it wasn't the cleanest they've played, but this is what they do. They're able to kind of weather the storm. You know, like we saw that Bruce and Tony kind of took that punch and were able to punch back. Jody and Richard had that resilient ability, just kind of continue to keep on, make a mistake, live with the mistake, and it's 21-20. I mean, at the end of the game, a win's a win.
Yep. Take it any way you can get it. And the way they've decided, and you mentioned too that they were able to pull it off with, it's sort of shifted. We watched Richard in the earlier games play more defense, and it was up to Jody to score, but we saw Jody with a lot of 10s, like you said, and this one Richard came through with the scores when needed. So that's good partner cornhole as well.
Yeah, it's very much a team competition versus singles when it's all you. But, you know, having a partner that's able to, or having a set of partners that understand the ups and downs of a certain game, whether it's sport conditions, you know, the opponent you're playing against, when you're able to kind of take those hits and misses and run with them and continue to win, regardless of if somebody's having a bad game or not, you know, that's a very successful team.
Yep, and the so elusive strategic timeout, as you mentioned earlier, that really helped settle those guys and gave them the, I guess, a new fresh look at the game. Ultimately, they came up just a little bit short, but it was a well-timed timeout, and it'll be interesting to see now with these guys what sort of mental game comes into play here. Thumbs up, taters exchanged. We're off and running. We were mentioning earlier that the king seed holder Steve Smith and TJ Miller will have to be double dipped by Jody Thurman and Richard Jones. Yeah, that's not that's an inauspicious beginning.
First bag is not ideal for Steve in green. And we'll see it's early if Jody can keep his bags down the middle, capitalize, kind of eliminate that last game, you know, the lingerings of what happened there and, you know, trying to pick up some points as Steve has two bags that are out of the hole. This one on the left is definitely in play. Oh, my goodness. Have Valor, it's a fast bag, and sometimes it moves. Jody with a good block to make its decision time early on in round one.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to get the backside. Oh, wow. That's not the one I expected him to grab.
Jody to pick up four, and he will.
Nicely done.
That bag hanging on for dear life back there did stay on. I don't know how, but it did stay on.
Well, the one that was sitting up on the back of the hole obscured my view. I thought it went off the back, so 12-8 gives them an early 4-point lead. The Blueprint Gamers coming out of the right paw of Richard Jones right now. Lucky Valor's being thrown by Steve Smith. TJ Miller.
Richard, do you think he wanted to collect that one, but he kind of sits behind and forces? This is probably going to be a roll if we know anything about Richard Jones. And it is, but it rolls short and ends up right in front of the group of bags. TJ.
Oh, and how
that's
about that
the roll he
bag?
wanted.
Yep, that's the one. Yep, nice bag.
He gets two right back, 8-on-6.
Getting a refresher there from Team Miller. Yeah, Richard Jones like, hey, where's mine?
This is how you do it, Big Rich. I got you. Yeah, TJ saw us talk about that in the third place game and thought, you know what, I'm gonna, you know, it's time to put the real champ out there. This is how we roll. That's a good block bag by Steve Smith. The Valor being a very fast bag, it's going to be very hole friendly, and then it makes Jody. It gives Jody a decision, and Jody chooses to back block. Well, Steve goes up, and he does, and he can't come down with it. He pushes his bag in, but his bag in hand rolls off the backside.
Kicks and misses, yeah. Jody runs him through.
Good bag by Jody. He can pick up three more if he stays clean.
Nice focus on the hole. 12-on-9. 3 spot takes it to 7-2. Our first chance to actually work together here at the Glass City Center in Toledo, Finn, the loudmouth for the ACO. Do you have a broadcast moniker that you use? Do you go by any particular?
The Cornhole world knows me as Maz.
Maz. That would have been my guess.
Yep. Isaac gets confused with Isaac Hurt.
Yes.
So we just kind of completely eliminate Isaac from the dictionary. You guys have heard me on the CBC broadcasts. You've heard me as the voice of Brazil Cornhole from the ACO Indiana State Tournament. Happy to be here with Finn. It's a beautiful Toledo Saturday afternoon.
Yes, as we can tell
as it's raining.
by looking out the no windows we have.
Yes.
But and this has been a nice trip to Toledo. I've not spent any time here up until this year, and looking forward to getting back here. But lots of great stuff within walking distance, some great cornhole being played, and we talked about this being the ACO Civil War weekend, North versus South, with Mobile going on. But the fields have been stacked on both North and South, which is great. It wasn't like you picked one and said, well, that's the field I want to compete against. You walked right into many, many buzzsaws, no matter whether you went North or South.
And that's, being, nationwide, ACO has talent. There was talent in the Fresno major. I mean, this is, it is a crazy wide national reach, and it's it's super exciting to see.
No doubt, no doubt. And to your point earlier about the regionals and everything else, the way to get better and become some of those top-ranked players, no matter what region you happen to be in, what conference you find yourself in, is to get out and play. If you're watching and haven't yet joined the ACO, you can do that, AmericanCornhole.com. Or if you're watching and you think, well, I got a lot of players around me, I need to organize and become a certified official. Again, all that information there for you at AmericanCornhole.com as well. We had Cisco Garza up here a little while ago from Ruthless Bags. You mentioned the boys from CBC, Cornslinger Bag up and over. Jody misses off the backside.
10 on 7, I think, is that
3.
one. Yep.
So anything and everything, if you want to find out how to become a bag partner, all the information that you need, especially everything that's coming up with the ACO. It's hard to believe we're winding down season 19. We're going to be in Camp Margaritaville for the second to last major of the season here in a couple weeks. Nice over-the-top airmail. I think I always talk about TJ has an unfair advantage in height.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that Zach Edey when he was playing for Purdue. It's like it's not fair when he can see, looking at the rim at eye level.
Yeah, absolutely. He can just kind of reach over and drop it in the hole, it seems.
Right. How that guy didn't have 100 points a game is beyond me. I would have loved to have been that head coach. Throw it to him. Throw it to him. Throw it to him. But, but TJ's always very even keel, good dude. He's won his share of majors, and I believe a Pro Series a couple of years ago. Won a Pro Series event as well. So these guys are a good team, and they've got the 10-7 lead.
Yeah, playing singles and doubles against TJ, you stand next to him, and you just look straight up, and you still can't see his face. And it's like, what is going on? What does this dude eat? But no, very nice guy and very consistent, very solid, can hit multiple different kinds of shots. We saw his roll earlier. He airmailed 2 straight this last down. Very, very consistent and honestly very aggressive. He's a very aggressive player with his bags, and it works. He gets results. And you got to think, if you can make the shot, there's nothing wrong with it. Jody kind of having a party around that hole there. He has 3 bags.
Steve going to cut.
And he sits behind. Make sure Jody's bag on the left-hand side around 7 o'clock is out of play for sure. The one on that right-hand corner, I think, also is definitely out of play.
Out of play. He's just going to have to take what he can get, and he does right there.
And he'll take 2. I don't know, Finn, if Jody was able to get that bag on the left-hand side. I know it's his lane, but I think I say take 2 or take 4.
Yeah, it
for
was
sure.
Certainly a 4th bag big decision time there. But right now, 12 on 7, and nothing we've seen is insurmountable, as we saw earlier with a 10-0 lead.
And TJ and Steve were able to, like I said, we talked about earlier, weathering that first punch, that first storm, and they've done that. Down, I think, either 4 or 5-0, and now building up their 5-point advantage of their own. So being able to take a punch and then throw a punch is so big
nice
in these
bag
events.
Right there. That was just enough strength to push that through and follow it. Now TJ has no choice but to use his as a to carry him, and that's just a wasted opportunity right there. Left 2 on the board. So 8 on 8 leaves it at 12 on 7. And again, it's a double dip situation. So should Jody and Richard come back, they'll have to do it again. So hope you're enjoying what you're seeing, because you might get to watch it all over again.
Now, this is cornhole at the highest level. Without a doubt, the ability to hit different shots, the ability to play through different arm angles and different focus points. These two teams are some of the best. Even though Richard and Jody don't play it together a ton, two great players make a great team, straight through. Jody's able to collect his bag that sat halfway down in that hole.
I don't think what he had in mind.
It's not out of play, but it's going to be a decision. And I say he just runs through it. We'll see.
You think he chases it? I don't know. Oh, boy.
Oh. So based on that bag, it didn't look like he was trying to chase it. He just missed.
He just missed. And that's another.
And Jody sends another one to the side. But 2 points is 2 points. They limit the lead, 12-9. Richard trying to get in TJ's way the best he can, and that bag worked. That worked.
He did.
And then he followed his own bag.
Nice bag there.
Beautiful.
Open the center back up. They'll both take advantage of that. Oh.
He almost brought it with him, but a beautiful left to right, back to left cut. And we talked about the roll shot, TJ's airmail, and now, you know what? I'm going to cut a bag too.
Uh-huh. Well, he does. He's got them all. He's got every single club in his bag. Gets it done. And you talked earlier about, Steve laid one down there right in the middle, and, was that going to affect Jody? Because we've seen Jody miss. I mean, when he misses most often to the right, just getting his head and get him out there to either side where he can't retrieve, giving Steve the chance just to run through and collect his.
And we've seen a much more consistent, and not that Jody wasn't consistent last game, but we've seen a much more, we've seen a cleaner version.
Center focused,
this game for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no longer a chalk outline on that right-hand corner.
No, he
around
had the three that were kind of hugging the hole there.
Yep.
A couple frames back.
And
there you go. Well done.
Announcer Jinx, I apologize. That's on me, guys.
The Jinx jar is in the truck. I forgot to bring it in. Usually it's Barnett that has to contribute to that, but
okay, yeah, that's on me.
That one's yours.
Oh man.
So 16-9, Steve Smith, TJ Miller. It'll be a one and done if they're able to race their way to 21 first. Oh boy. I don't think we've seen him do that all day.
It rolled, so he throws an open board roll more than anybody I've ever seen in my life, and this time it just flopped right to that left side, and it.
Oh boy! Return the favor, did TJ? Look at that. Really nice bag.
TJ to collect with his last bag, and he does.
Yep.
But
no
again,
pressure, but you better make it. Yeah.
Points on the board. Yeah, it's points on the board. And TJ knew it the minute he left his hand, it hung up.
The Washingtons. So who's going to win this game? Which side? Which end of the court is going to be responsible for winning the game?
Yeah, and that's so. I think, based on matchups, it's going to come down to Steve and Jody. Because I think TJ and Richard can go blow for blow on their assortment of tricks in their bags. I think it's going to come down to the opposite end, because is Jody able to stay straight focused? We see Steve has one that's off to the left, but definitely in play. Who's going to be able to capitalize on the mistakes earlier?
Yeah. Look at that.
Perfect.
What a shot.
Perfect.
And that's the one you talked about, all the way across his body, but there was enough in there, and there might be the mistake you were talking about. But to go across his body and be able to collect those two is fantastic.
Is Jody going to try for it? Short-ish airmail. No, he's not. So just give up his two.
Take what he can get.
And now we're coming down to that one mistake-ish is going to end this game. It's 18-9. But I do think it's going to have to be one down there on our right side end, because I think Richard and TJ are just very evenly matched in their ability to
punch
continue
and
to
counter-punch.
Absolutely. Put bags in the hole regardless of how they do it.
Yeah, they do hit and get differently, and that could be a big problem right there for 2-spot. And it is 10 on 12. And that puts Steve and TJ on the magic number 20.
As you said, it's the hardest one to get.
Hardest point in cornhole. That we have that discussion quite often.
Mm-hmm.
Is the hardest point to get the last one or the first one? Depends on how good you are.
It definitely does. I think it's the last one.
Yeah.
And because I've seen, I think we were in, I forget if it was Owensboro or Dalton. Jody Thurman was up 20-5 on Isaac Hurt, and Isaac Hurt beat him.
Uh-huh.
And it's the hardest point to get. It's the most stressful point to get.
Well, I think if you're an up-and-coming player and you feel like you've practiced well and you step up and you're playing well, but you happen to walk up against somebody that no matter how well you're playing, you're matching, even if it's an 8 and an 8, even if whatever it is, that first point on the board as a younger, newer player.
Steve goes up.
Ooh, boy. That becomes the most important point for you to get psychologically to crack that egg.
Absolutely, and that's that feeds into the same conversation about the emotions and playing the up and down, keeping it even and level, and managing the stress and the games. When you throw a great bag versus when you throw a bag that you should have had back. Being able to kind of handle those things. As Steve short airmail gives up just the one. Oh no, Jody has a bag left.
He's got one left,
and we'll take a timeout.
Yep.
Right now, I think it's 7-5 because Steve has one off that backside. Went for the airmail, didn't get it. You have to think Jody's shooting it. There's thought that he can kind of step out and go through that lane. He does have a bit of a lane. He just needs one bag in. One bag's got to find the ground inside that hole.
It seems like he does have the room. It does appear to be there, just left of Steve's bag, and there it is. Oh, and off the back.
And that
ends up doing it. All right, well, we have our doubles champions here in Toledo, the Glass City Center Court. Welcome Steve Smith and TJ Miller as our Toledo ACO Major champions. Well played by Jody Thurman and Richard Jones. They burned their way back through the lower bracket to come up against the King seat with all the heat today. How about it? You mentioned it, Steve Smith, TJ Miller, a great team. You've seen them time and time again, and this is exactly what we're accustomed to seeing.
Absolutely. Podium finishes are no surprise. Plaque finishes are no surprise.
Charlie Case in there rubbing shoulders with all his players, no surprise.
With his paintball splatter jersey. I told you, they have crazy fashion sense out in Owensboro, Kentucky.
Charlie looks like he went to Baskin-Robbins and fell into the
all the vats.
Yeah, and just rolled around for a while. Well, Maz, I appreciate you, brother. We're going to get into some singles pool play here. I'm going to go get rid of a beer, find a new beer, and if you want to stick around and work on any single stuff, otherwise let's gather together here again at Center Court in a little while. Let's do it again.
Absolutely happy to be back. Congratulations again to Steve and TJ, the Smith brothers, only in Toledo, Ohio.
The Smith twins have done it. Yes, indeed. We're going to take a little bit of a break. We'll be back with more singles action before we wrap up the Toledo Major here live from Toledo, Ohio, as the ACO Civil War weekend continues. North versus South. We've crowned a doubles winner in the North. We'll find out what's going on, and will the South rise again? That's completely up to the Mississippi Ninja and Stephanie Burgett. We'll find out here in just a little while on the ACO Digital Network.